Tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Mass. Wrestling fans, it's time to rock. WWE legend Marty Jannetty of the Rockers returns for 3 big nights, Wednesday, September the 1st through Friday, September the 3rd. Marty will be taping historical Wrestling Insider episodes, live specials, Insider autograph signings, support wrestling superstars, pre-order autographed 8x10s now over at bostonwrestling.com. This September, get your sunglasses ready. It's time to party with Marty.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to the Sunday, August 29th, 2021 edition of Wrestling Insider Stern But Fair. What a wild night it has been here in Boston Wrestling Sports. We went live with Just Incredible for the Cyber Autograph signing. We are going to do our Sunday Night Live specials from now through, I think you guys are going to have it at least through mid-October. A mysterious benefactor has stepped up, Tiger, for these live specials that we've been doing on Sunday nights. So I think through October 10th, you guys got us LIVE live for watch-alongs and trivia and prizes and special guests and, I guess, retro watch-alongs, live watch-alongs, and so on and so forth. But every Sunday night at 10 p.m. on non-pay-per-view weekends, that is, we have with us the one, the only, the first, the former, now board of director of Boston Wrestling MWF, Mr. Tiger Mulligan, for things to get a little stern but fair here on BostonWrestling.com. And there sure is a lot to talk about within the organization, never mind without. We hope you are well this week down in Bro, Jersey.
What's going on, sir? How are you?
Oh, I tell you, I made the big leap yesterday to try and go into the mall without my cane, and I am feeling it today.
You always gotta walk around with that gimmick. Come on, man. You know better than that.
I thought I was having a pretty good day yesterday. I thought I could do it. And you know what? I did it. And then I woke up today and I felt like I did the day after I got hit by the drunk driver with the Sheik. But what are you going to do?
You walking around that cane would be like Mr. Fuji walking around without his cane.
It just doesn't look right.
Not one bit. Not one bit.
I also have some very, I guess, what I'll call disappointing news for you and the fans.
No.
By the time I arrived today, my bi-weekly treat had already left.
You're
Roy Orbison's favorite, cleaning women. Don't walk home by cleaning women. Leave the bathroom dry, cleaning women.
You spent all week trying to figure out a new verse to that song.
I got a lot of them. I'm waiting to break out it. For the anniversary special, we may have to do the whole thing when they're here.
Yes, that and on camera because I got to see their reaction.
Because I don't think they speak English, and I think singing cleaning women. I think they would probably understand cleaning women, but other than that, I don't know. They'd probably stand there and smile at me. I told you the older one that comes along that doesn't clean. I guess she's like the booker or something. She just sits.
She just collects the payday.
Well, she reminds me. I think I've said like Grandpa from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They just wheeled him down for dinner and. They put a hammer in his hand and he started to bash the woman. But hopefully they don't do that with their mops.
They don't do that to you. Yeah. I mean, I hope they don't do it to you.
What did you think about, just to get the 500-pound elephant out of the room, without even naming names, the episode this week? Did you get a chance to see it?
The episode? Which one?
The one that made worldwide headlines.
I didn't. I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, I guess you didn't make the rounds to New Jersey then. It was the episode with a certain Hall of Famer's stepdaughter and I having an Oprah Winfrey-like discussion.
Oh no! So I don't know. I saw the original episode of the.
Well, that was more me. I was
throwing out. That was I
was
didn't
playing
see anything beyond that.
And that one I played 20 questions, and then we had the recording. But this was actually her and I. Responding to the accusations, and I think it's one of the better interviews we've ever done.
All right, I'm gonna have to go take a look. You know
It
what's
is.
funny? I think it popped up on somewhere for me to take a look at it, and I thought it was the original one, so that's why I didn't take a look at it. So I'll go back today and have a listen.
We have our big aha moment.
Ah, interesting. All right, so I'll have to go back and take a look.
I think the war is finally over, which makes me happy. We've talked about the sunglasses people before, and John Cena Sr. made his way onto that show this week.
And that was another one I didn't get to see. How did that go?
I've never watched it.
Oh, okay.
Because I give it like this. If I observe what they do, the only time I did watch it, I saw a little bit of the Blair Witch Project, Marty Jannetty, just to see what that was about. But other than that, it's almost like I give credence to they're alive if I pay attention to them. You know what I mean?
I got you.
But,
did you have a conversation with Cena afterwards? What did he think?
He was pleased. But what happened, oh, excuse me, fans, I learned that Tony had yet another trick up his sleeve to try and enhance this war, and I probably sent the most strongly worded text messages one could possibly send to someone with an outline of 3 things that was going to happen if it did, that would have decimated the poor soul. And I said, or we can just simply end it today. So I said, those are your options. If you continue with this, A, B, and C is going to happen, or you can call Sunglasses, you can call whoever you're talking to and just say, end it. And to my surprise, it ended. So I don't think we're going to hear anything more about that. I am very excited that our new Tuesday night replacement, Wrestling Insiders Extreme, is coming our way. When we look back at all things, the superstars, the people, the places that were Extreme Championship Wrestling debuting as part of the new fall season and our 20th anniversary, Tuesday night, September the 7th, when we begin to release the long-awaited New Jack episodes that fans have wanted to see. They are available now on our Patreon streaming service, where you can help keep Wrestling Legends working, along with get early ad-free access to Wrestling Insiders, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, Patreon-exclusive videos, and more. That whole, how do you release New Jack? When do you release New Jack? It's almost like, I guess you could say it fit together like a puzzle piece. For fans that may not remember, New Jack was here in May, and then he passed away 6 days later. I thought it would have been an extremely poor taste to release the episodes right away. I think enough time has passed, and when we have this new series launching, I think it's the perfect time for it. But that's, again, one man's opinion.
No, I do think it's a good idea. It's you have, especially with the new program launching, I think this would be the perfect time to do it. It's good to get that one guy out of there and something new on there that the fans actually want to see.
And I don't know if it's an honor. That might be too strong of a word, but I think it's a really nice way to begin the series with him.
Yeah, it's almost a remembrance.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
September 7th, fans, after the freshly colored, non-extreme looking NXT logo.
Yeah, that's on my agenda to
Kick
talk
back,
about. Jesus.
sit back, relax, and we're going to get extreme, baby. Put some of the women and children to bed. If the women offend easily, they're not going to want to watch this one. If you have a child, you definitely don't want them to watch this one. But we are going to have a lot of fun. And with that, now, as I've been babbling about cleaning women and walking around malls without a cane, and dear Lord, can I get in a story with a cheap plug?
I know, right? Huh? Jeez
Yesterday,
Louise.
if you could have only seen Nicholas, and we have now been friends now officially over 20 years, if you could have seen life through my eyes yesterday.
Well,
Yeah, you would have been very probably shocked for one, and surprised for two.
Was there a lot of top talent up there?
It wasn't about the quantity; it was about the quality, baby.
Okay,
And I got to. I do have to give out props to my dear friend, not a longtime friend, but a close friend such as you, my good friend JTG of Crime Time. You do see the commercials with Kofi Kingston pop up. He gave me a kit. For Bay Spray, it's called, and I Bay sprayed myself with this concoction that he came up with, which it's a really refreshing summer smell. And he gave me, it's called Sexy as Hell Beard Care. So I threw some of this beard butter on me, and I tell you, it was like a slip and slide almost. Junior, Junior Soprano only could have wished he had some of this.
Oh my God!
This beard care. If Junior Soprano actually had a beard during the Soprano days, But you know what? There were no wheat fields, I guess, that Junior wouldn't whistle in, according to Tony. But again, that's a different story for a different time. Fans, we want to send you over to JTG's website, pick up the goods. He tells me he has this other concoction that whoever put this package together in Pennsylvania did not send me. I cannot blame Jay because I know he lives in Los Angeles, but it's called T-Moss. It's some kind of a supplement that he uses when he works out that has him looking in the best shape of his career, and I guess there's some kind of like a seaweed type supplement in it that is tremendous for the libido. Tremendous for the libido.
I've heard about this.
The libido could use a little enhancing, but again, the cleaning women have been eyeing me. But that's a different story.
that's a completely different podcast.
Yes, it certainly is. But check out all of JTG's great products. He is a great guy. I have learned that JTG is going to be with us the final 4 weeks leading into our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday night, November the 13th, from the historic Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. We are now officially less than 11 weeks away. I am waiting for the official buzz to come through on my phone, as I was last week, which turned into a disaster, but just pending airline certification. The sixth superstar is going to be announced by the end of the weekend, and with that means the pre-sale discount ends. So if you want to save some money on all tickets, head on over to bostonwrestling.com now. I continue to warn you, and a great thing for us, if you want the Ultra or the Platinum VIP packages, I would act quickly because they've been moving very, very, very fast. Well over half of them are gone. We are still, like I said, just about 11 weeks away from the event itself. Things are looking good as we go retro, and how could we not go retro without the former and first Boston Wrestling MWF champion there?
And in my opinion, uncrowned.
Well, again, that almost sounds like a presidential type debate conversation. We'll get there someday. What do we got going on in the world of professional wrestling through your eyes this week, sir? I am still trying to come to life. I'm still a little grumpy, but you know what? I know you're a man of great wisdom and great insight, so I trust that you have come up with some outstanding topics for us this week.
Well, I don't know if they're outstanding. I thought it was kind of a boring week to go with as far as wrestling goes. But
I'll sing cleaning women again then.
No, well, please don't. I think we can make it through. But I guess I mean I'm sure I know the answer to this. But did you by any chance get to catch the NWA Empowerrr pay-per-view last night?
You know, I actually I ordered on pay-per-view on 2 different television sets, but I missed it on both of them.
Yeah, I did not order it. I didn't really care. And then looking back at the results, I mean, I don't know. Does anybody even care about Awesome Kong retiring? I thought she had already retired.
You know what? There's something to be said for that. But I actually cared about that. She is someone that competed here in Boston Wrestling many times. She retired. I shouldn't say she had her. Thanks to our friends at WWE, they let her have her final match before she became Karma. Down the street here at Memorial Hall, where we're going to have our 20th anniversary bash. She is one of my favorite people in wrestling, believe it or not.
No, she's don't get me wrong. I don't want to be taken out of context here, but you know she's
you only
she's great.
Jobbed her out, but I mean, how can we take you out of context?
Well, here's the thing. Listen, she's a great person, and I've met her and talked to her on a few different occasions. But at the same time, I just don't think anybody really cares to the fact that she needs to have this big, huge send off. I don't understand all that. And here's the other part of it.
Okay.
Is all these guys and gals have these big send offs, and the next thing you know, they're wrestling again, maybe 2 years from there. And it's like, why? What's the point of it? I don't understand.
Maybe she has a little Leo Rush in her.
God, don't. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I think a lot of guys have a lot of little Leo Rush, and I think it all started with Terry Funk way back in the day. But come on, it's if you're going to retire, then retire. It's like the same thing with the Hall of Fame. I don't think you should be putting people in the Hall of Fame that are still you still intend to put them in the ring.
That's a good point.
You know, it's do I believe that somebody like a Goldberg deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Sure, but then don't wrestle anymore. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's almost like I don't know how it works, but you know, can now Peyton Manning, who just went into the Football Hall of Fame, come out of retirement and go play football again? I don't think that's how it works. So I don't know.
To me, as far as what I came across, that was about the only thing of any interest that came out of that show last night. I didn't know or were familiar with a lot of those names.
I agree.
Maybe John Cena Sr. was eyeing it for his fabulous Women of Wrestling division, but I was not one that piqued my curiosity to the point that I searched it out and watched it online. I spent the better part of 6 hours preparing for our series of interviews with Just Incredible today. So once I returned to old Marty Hill, I did not have time for Empowerrr.
Yeah, no,
Do you know anyone that watched it?
I don't. That's the problem. This is like it's number one. It snuck up on me because I totally forgot that it was on last night until like last night came around. I go, oh, that's on, and I just had no interest in turning it on. So that kind of tells you one thing. It just again, I don't know. I didn't know half the people that were on the show. You had somebody like, and this is going to sound bad, because she's another sweet person, but Jazz. You have Jazz as one of the producers. I mean, I just don't see how that even comes to fruition there. Mickie James, who put it together, didn't get in the ring. I think she should have been working. They didn't really have a lot of star power on the show. The only two people that I would have been interested in watching would have been somebody like a Dina Purrazzo or Chelsea Green. But other than those two, I didn't really care about anybody else.
Well, I think it falls under the definition of the initials of the great state of North Carolina. In that nobody cared, but I guess we'll see when the pay-per-view numbers come out. I think maybe it'll be eye-opening. Who knows? Maybe there were more people than we ever would have thought that would have watched it. But I had a conversation with someone in the know this week, and when I'm not talking about a WWE type person, but just someone very familiar with all women's wrestling shows. Mm-hmm. And they said, we were talking about the John Cena Sr. FWW comment, and they were trying to persuade me to encourage him not to do it. So,
but why?
Like that. Why?
Yeah.
Because in their work trying to produce them, they weren't a great success.
I see what you're saying.
So that's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah, just listen. I don't know. It's just one of those things, and I don't want to bash women's wrestling because I do think that there's a niche for it, and there's a need on every show for it. I think there just needs to be reined in a little bit, and you got to have that star power in order to watch something, no matter what type of programming it is. And something like last night, there just was no star power on there for me. There was no interest. I hate to say I didn't care because I love all wrestling, but I just didn't care. I didn't care to spend my hard-earned money, and unfortunately, that's what you need to do in order to be successful. So I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to get out of it. I think Mickie James is trying to make a point, but I don't know if her point was made or not. And, I hope that something good came out of it, but I'm not too sure that it did.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's almost like what I said. It boils down to, was it a success or not? How many people bought it? What was the overhead? How much was it costing them? Was it well received? And go from there to see if they ever do it again. I think even in the world of WWE, as much as I guess at best was indifferent towards the first Evolution pay-per-view, I think it would be nice for them, WWE, to do once a year, at least to do something a little different.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I just, again, I don't know. You have to, again, you got to be able to have the star power. You got to have the interest. I just don't think there was interest there. Some of these girls that were on there, I don't know, man. If I've never heard of them, that kind of says something to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking out of turn, but again, if I haven't heard of who you are, and I'm very well versed with all things wrestling, I would think that it just didn't turn out well. So I don't know.
For those that are, and again, it's not like that I go searching out women's wrestling on a regular basis, but for someone to be within the confines of the industry itself and not know, what more can you really say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look at the lineup here. Like, they're looks like their women's champ is a girl named Camille. Now, like, I just never heard of her.
Outstanding athlete. I have no idea who she is, but
yeah, I don't know.
I bet she is.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? And I just have no idea who these people are. Now, Renee Michelle, I think, isn't that Drake Maverick's wife?
I have absolutely no idea.
I think I know who she is. But again, Red Velvet, I think I've seen her on AEW.
Not to be confused with the lovely, the radiant, the exquisite Velvet Sky.
Well, but this Velvet Sky, she does the commentary, no?
Oh, she did commentary on this?
I don't know. I know that she's been doing commentary for NWA.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I would think she would be doing the commentary for it.
Does she still have the Gemma Teller look going from Sons of Anarchy?
No.
She did away with that. I think that was for the best.
Yeah, no, she kind of, I mean, I don't know what kind of look I would consider calling it, but.
It wasn't well, did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
Oh, of course.
So you know the Jannetty
show.
Yeah, so you know the Jannetty look. All right.
So are you saying with like the one blonde streak in her hair type of deal?
Even kind of the clothing and whatnot.
I
thought, she was almost doing Jannetty for Halloween, but then it was a regular thing.
I mean, I can't say one way or the other because I don't watch the products. I don't know what she's wearing. But seeing, I follow her on Twitter and Instagram. I've known her since her beginning days at Jason Knight's school, and she was hanging out with your little TP monger down in North Carolina.
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas himself.
Pocahontas.
Yeah. So
he's down there with the rest of them looking for a free meal. Yeah.
Aren't they all? But
I'll tell you that's a unique world. If the trigger is pulled for us to return to the great state of North Carolina, and there were some great people down there in that area. I'm not trying to knock all of them. I'm just trying to knock the one that I met and some of the ones he interacted with. They scum, I guess is a good way to put it. But I do enjoy North Carolina as an area, and some very nice people. Nice. But in the Indian reservation that I was at, just the accent that they used was so difficult for me to try and understand. I think I told you about the time I tried to go through the line at the supermarket for a few things for the room. Did I ever tell you that one?
No.
Well, I tried to pay, and the woman goes to me, David. And I said, what? And she went, David. I said, what? David. I said, no. I said, and I held up my card and I pointed it at her. I said, my name is Dan. And he's sitting there laughing at me, and I go, no, bro. He's saying, she's asking debit card. I said, oh.
David, debit, same thing.
Well, close enough. But they
no,
got
they
me
weren't.
on that one.
You know what it is? They were probably upset because you didn't say hello to them properly.
What was I supposed to do? Go,
no. You're always supposed to go up to an Indian and say, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
How? Is that how I should have greeted them? I mean, I don't. Well, I'm gonna have to ask the experts if we do go back. I don't know. It was a different experience for me, but I enjoyed it. Met a lot of nice people. Their police and their fire down there are really good guys, and so I hope we'll be back there sooner than later. I could rather we can keep Pocahontas at the TP when I'm around.
Well, you need him to push those tickets a little bit.
Oh yeah, he knows how to push all right with those bug-like eyes that he has popping out of him.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But back to Empowerrr or back to NWA, yeah. Moving on.
Moving on from NWA Empowerrr. Well, was there anything that we missed? I don't know.
No, I'm sure there is, but I just again, as I'm looking through this, I don't know who anybody is. The only match on here that seemed like it had any kind of anything was Deonna Purrazzo against Melina for the Impact Knockouts Championship. So, I mean, I don't even know if I'd pay to see that because Melina is kind of washed up. But I am a fan of Deonna Purrazzo.
She's hit her prime, maybe is a good way to put it.
She's hit something, a brick wall maybe.
You'd have to ask Batista, but anyway.
Or John Morrison for that fact.
Or
allegedly. Anyway. But no, I think the biggest thing that I'm noticing coming out of this week is there was somebody within WWE. I don't know who the source was, but they're pretty much saying that the edict coming from Vince is that he doesn't want any independent wrestlers signed and that AEW can take all of them because WWE doesn't want them. That's interesting to me and why they would make comments like that, if it's even true. This is all second party, third hand, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know this to be factual or not, so it's all alleged. But if WWE is looking to make a change, they're looking to make it, real deep by saying that the indies aren't important and that they're not going to grab anybody off of there. So I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, it is almost like when we were talking about the giving literally now at this point a fresh coat of paint to NXT. I don't think it's a bad idea to say, you know what, we want to focus exclusively on these, looking for bigger guys, recruiting outside of the world of independent wrestling and wrestling schools and things like that. We want to go after big amateur wrestlers. We want to go after football players that couldn't make it in the NFL after they left college football. Maybe failed MMA artists. I mean, I don't specifically know what the target is, but just an attempt to try and find guys that they want WrestleMania main eventers with. And I think that is a very smart move. But again, I go to almost like the same conversation we had last week, just with a different topic. I think they're wrong on the fact that, you know what, there's a lot of gems out there in the independents. These are people that want the business. They probably are going to have a better understanding of what the business is compared to finding a college football player or an amateur wrestler or an MMA fighter that fights twice a year, that has these long training camps, that has no idea what they're stepping into when it comes to our industry. So I think there are pros and cons to both, not to be confused with Nick or Tony Khan. Should WWE be looking elsewhere? Yes. I think it is proven that, while there are some exceptional talents that have come from the independents, some that have gone on to be in feature matches at WrestleManias, at the same time, there is no one right now exuding star power that's full-time under WWE contract, and you could argue other than maybe Roman Reigns.
I mean, that would be an argument. I'm sure there's some others.
You even want to argue that? All right.
No, I'm not gonna argue that.
You agree? Okay.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm sure somebody out there can argue that, is what I'm trying to say. But here's the thing. I relate it back to, say, the mid '80s, right? So or even before that, when Vince McMahon was scooping up everybody from the different territories and things like that. And granted, I know people are going to say, oh, well, they've always done that, where they've looked outside of wrestling, or all these guys that used to play football that came in, like your Dr. Deaths and your Wahoo McDaniels and all these other guys that were big stars. But at the same time, to go as far as and say, we're not interested in the indies and we just want to kind of make our own stars, I don't really think it's ever really worked. Now, you could make the argument for somebody like a Kurt Angle, or even a Brock Lesnar for that fact. But who have they plucked, knowingly plucked from, say, I don't know, the football world or MMA world, to where, besides maybe Ken Shamrock, but Ken Shamrock came in on his own accord. Who have they plucked and made a star out of? I can't think of anybody, unless I'm just ignorant to it. And to go as far as to say they're not interested in the indies, like, to me, some of these guys that they grab from, say, the football world, it just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't. That's not their love. That's not their passion. It almost comes out as Goldberg-esque, where Goldberg pretty much came into the business because it was the only thing he can make money at. So, they got no passion. They don't care one way or the other about the business, and it just makes it bad for business in my eyes.
Well, I think it comes down to this: time and money. I mean, how much money are you going to allocate for this? How many people are you going to put in these scouting missions to try and recruit these athletes? You had Jerry Briscoe, and you got rid of
not
Jerry
to cut
Briscoe.
you off.
Okay.
Not to cut you off. I was actually poking around the other day, and I noticed they actually have up on their career site, they actually have a job opening for a talent scout. So it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, but I mean, what are they going to do? Get something on par with one of their writing team to go out and scout superstars?
Probably something like that. Who knows?
They had the perfect person for it, Jerry Briscoe, who hopefully in time will return to the company, as he should. He's an outstanding individual. But, you need to have people with a background that know what to look for. I think, as we've seen by the people that help produce the WWE TV shows, they have a lot of people involved in the creative process that have absolutely no idea what they're looking at or looking for. And I certainly would not send them out on scouting missions to try and recruit the next generation of WWE, or God only knows what we might be looking at.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just funny to me because, again, I think if they don't make that comment about not caring or even wanting to use people on indies and just give them all to AEW, it just puts a sour taste in my mouth. Like, the wrestling was built on territories, right?
Yeah.
And, these are the modern day territories. And without independent wrestling thriving, I just don't think there is going to be thriving companies beyond that. So for them to just put it down as much as they did, just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm taking it too personal.
Well, do you want to know when the last time they came down with an edict similar to this?
Yeah, hit me with it.
If I recall correctly, I believe it was about 2004. And at that point, who was the director of talent relations?
Was it Johnny Ace?
Yes, it was.
It was, right?
So, I don't know if one has anything to do with the other, but I did find that kind of funny that the exact same edict that came out, we want guys in their 20s. At that point, it was 6'4" and taller.
Yeah.
And now we're hearing this almost the exact same verbiage in 2021, 17 years later.
But just look how
think
good
that's
it came.
ironic.
Look how good it came over, went over back then. Like, who's still around that they plucked from wherever and put them into OVW? You have your Randy Orton and your Cena in them, but who else? Who else is there? Who else is around? They had all these guys. You had your Mark Jindrak's and your Sean O'Hare's that came from WCW. Who was the guy that was with Kurt Angle for a little while?
Luther Reigns.
Luther, yeah, you had Luther, you had Tomko. I mean, God rest his soul. I know he's not around anymore, but you had all these guys, and not for nothing, they didn't make an impact at all, and they're not around to be found anymore. So is it really the way to go? I mean, is it just a Band-Aid?
Well, he did sign his 2 future daughter-in-laws, so I guess that worked out well for him. He wound up with a bride as a result. I
mean, not for nothing. I think, and this is going to sound so bad, but I think it's a little different. I think it's a little different with women.
Yeah.
With women, it's very rare you get one that's like a super athlete. I think with the men, I think you get a lot of super athletes, but they just can't. I think women take to the sport better than men do, to be perfectly honest with you. So you can actually grab those, I don't know, 5'9", 10, maybe even 6 foot Barbie dolls and actually make them into something. It's just a little bit easier, I feel. And I don't mean any disrespect to the effort that the women put in. But again, I just think for their role, it's a little bit easier. For the guys, it's a little different. Well,
I mean, at the end of the day, can you ever have too much talent?
No, you can't. But that's the thing, though, is to me right now, I think WWE has got a slew of talent, but they just don't know what the hell to do with them. No. And their storylines are so bad, and they shotgun stuff. And maybe we'll keep this for after the break, but they shotgun so many different angles and so many different things that it's like it's not even worth watching anymore. And I don't want to get off too much in the tangent on it.
All right, well, I see you getting very fired up over there right now. Why don't we take that brief time out, folks? Catch you up on all the things happening in the world of Boston wrestling and beyond. We'll be back on the flip side with Tiger Mulligan. Stand by. Wrestling fans, all-inclusive VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary Back to the 80s WrestleFest. Saturday night, November the 13th, at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts, where you'll meet the icons up close and personal, including Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake Roberts, Axe and Smash Demolition, Marty, Jannetty, and more 80s Hall of Famers to be announced SummerSlam weekend. Plus, the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow will blow the roof off of Memorial Hall with a hot night of in-ring action at this interactive wrestling event and Fanfest you'll never forget. Make your plans to be there live. Get your tickets at bostonwrestling.com now. Wrestling fans, it's time to rock. WWE legend Marty Jeanetti of the Rockers returns for 3 big nights, Wednesday, September the 1st through Friday, September the 3rd. Marty will be taping historical Wrestling Insider episodes, live specials, Insider autograph signings, support wrestling superstars, pre-order autographed 8x10s now over at bostonwrestling.com. This September, get your sunglasses ready It's time to party with Marty. Wrestling fans, we've told you that we have a new Tuesday night coming for you for our 20th anniversary beginning September 7th when Boston Wrestling MWF goes extreme. Sunday night, August the 29th, one of the rotating superstars joining us will be former ECW World Champion Justin Credible, coming to MWF Studios for the first time for Wrestling Insider's Extreme tapings, plus a live episode and Cyber autograph signing. Joining New Jack, Justin Credible brings a brand new edge to Tuesday nights. Interested in joining us live? Boston Wrestling Patreon family members can join us for free. For information, visit patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Fans anywhere in the world can join us for the live episode and Cyber autograph signing. For more, visit bostonwrestling.com. All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to segment 2 of the August 29th, 2021 edition of Wrestling Insider's Stern but Fair. Sunday nights are becoming something new, something fun. At least through mid-October, we are going to be LIVE live each and every week with live watch-alongs, retro watch-alongs, special guests, prizes, trivia. And then at 10 o'clock, as I had what sounded like the end of a hiccup right there.
It sounded like something.
We end the night with the first former, now board of director member of Boston Wrestling MWF, Mr. Tiger Mulligan, as we go stern but fair with current events in the world of wrestling. I know you have meticulous notes over there that you were crossing out so fast it was almost like you were lighting a match on the commercial break.
I mean, hey, maybe I should light a match and just put it all up into smoke, but you know, we talked about the shotgunning of stuff, and you know, it's crazy to me that you have somebody like Brock Lesnar come back at SummerSlam, and what was a ridiculous angle and how they pulled it off, and then there's really just zero follow up afterwards. So not only did they shotgun it, they saw CM Punk and the reaction they got on a Friday. Vince calls up Brock and says, "I need you. Here's all the money and everything you want. Show up on Sunday." He shows up, and then there's just zero follow up. So where do you go from here? And it sucks for somebody like Finn Balor, who is now shotgunned into a program with Roman, and just to get a backseat to what's eventually just going to be, Roman against Brock. It's a little silly to me.
Well, I continue to be sad by it. I thought it would make for a tremendous WrestleMania main event. I like the storyline dynamic if they choose to go in the direction of who will Paul Heyman choose between the man he used to advocate for and the man he advocates for now. That's some good stuff. It's hard for them to come up with good creative material long term on those shows to begin with, as we've seen, it seems like the closer and closer to WrestleMania it gets, the worse the material gets. You know what I mean? They have too much interaction between the people having the big matches week in, week out, when they only need limited interaction. You only need maybe 2-3 angles for the big matches, and they're going to sell themselves. You don't need multiple segments every week, which waters it down and makes you want to see it even less. But, again, Roman and Brock has its own story to tell, much like Rock and Roman has its own story to tell. So Roman should be in for some pretty easy paydays when it comes to that as far as the big events go. But the question is, when do you pull the trigger on Brock and Roman? Does this company, with no patience and no pacing, can they make it last until WrestleMania? I don't see that.
No way. I don't see how they're going to. I don't.
Do they save it for the Kingdom of Jeddah when they return to Saudi Arabia in October? Again, that's an event that's on a Thursday at 1 o'clock in the United States. There isn't going to be much viewership. Do you waste it at Extreme Rules? Do you save it for Survivor Series, which is one of the tentpole events of the year? But Survivor Series has certainly lost its luster over the past 20 years or so. I don't know. I mean, even the Rumble, to me, that's a WrestleMania match. And I think anything but, I think you're disappointing yourself.
Yeah, I think the only way they can get themselves out of it is if they do decide to go forward with this draft, which I'm hearing a lot about, is if, say, for instance, Brock Lesnar gets drafted to Raw, and then they're separate, and then you could still build it to where, now all of a sudden Paul Heyman's on both shows, and then you could bring them back together afterwards. It's not a huge ordeal. You could even do something at the Rumble if you wanted to, but then who does Brock feud with? I think Brock Bobby Lashley would be great, but again, that's That's something that's almost another WrestleMania thing. So you wouldn't want to do it. And the thing, I think the biggest thing that stinks now is like you build and build and build to these matches, and they're WrestleMania caliber matches. But I also remember SummerSlam caliber matches, and I remember, I guess they didn't really ever do huge Royal Rumble caliber matches because the Royal Rumble match itself was such a spectacle until they started doing the winner gets the title thing, title shot at WrestleMania. But I think you got to start building up your pay-per-views as opposed to just throwing this stuff on either free TV or just a random pay-per-view like Extreme Rules or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you this: I don't want to out the individual that gave me the scoop, but I was told that a lot of what happened over the past weekend, it really, from WWE's point of view, wasn't a reaction to what had gone on with AEW. It's that Fox was absolutely furious that they didn't sign CM Punk after they basically handed them CM Punk for that late night talk show they did on Tuesdays on FS1. I think. Right. Backstage.
Backstage, yeah.
And you know what? They wanted marquee talent on Fox Network. They're paying a lot of money for SmackDown each week on that property. And when you look at how things came to be at SummerSlam, where did both Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar wind up? You'd think on paper.
Yeah, you're right.
Both on SmackDown.
On SmackDown, yeah. So, I could see that. But again, that's it. We're saying that it's not a reaction to CM Punk, but in retrospect, it is because they might not, WWE or Vince might not give a crap about CM Punk being on AEW, but guess what? The people that are paying them do, and you got to make those people signing those paychecks happy. And they're just not doing it. And it's crazy. It's crazy to me. It's even crazier to the fact that they're getting rid of all these guys, too. Strowman you could do without, but somebody like a Bray Wyatt or Daniel Bryan, I don't know, man. It seems, or even somebody like an Adam Cole for that fact. Why are you letting these guys slip through your fingers? It doesn't make any sense. It's almost like they have too much pride to say, we were wrong, let's try to fix it, as opposed to what they're doing. And that's, we don't give a shit about these guys, and we can make stars out of anybody. But they haven't really made a star since Cena. So, I don't know. Go figure.
Isn't it interesting that it almost seems like Brock Lesnar is on the Braun Strowman is almost on the island of misfit toys. I don't think AEW, from what I've heard, is hot to trot to try and sign him and bring him in where he's so big. On Twitter, I don't know how true or false it is, as I really don't. The people that I did know at Impact Wrestling aren't there anymore, but it seemed like TNA could be a potential, or I should call it Impact Wrestling, could be a potential destination for him.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about how the mighty have fallen from pinning Billy Goldberg to go off the air at WrestleMania 36 to wrestling in front of a near-empty warehouse at the Impact Zone, or whatever they call it, in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. As much as I like a bunch of the guys that are there in Impact, I just don't think Impact is making an impact. Yeah, I don't go out of my way to watch it, and maybe that's just because I don't have access to it and whatnot. But I don't know. It's almost like a Ring of Honor. Like, why do people want to go back to Ring of Honor so bad? Why do you want to go backwards in your career? That's just me. Like, I wouldn't, if I'm coming off of WWE TV. Like a Braun Strowman, I just don't think, or even a Bray Wyatt, I just don't think going to Impact or Ring of Honor is a step forward unless they're paying you a lot of money, and I just can't see those two organizations being able to afford it.
Brock Lesnar. Why do I keep saying that? Braun Strowman certainly isn't advancing his career anywhere. He was at the pinnacle in WWE. You could say Ring of Honor. It certainly has far more momentum and electricity to it right now than WWE. But as far as the prestige of where you want to work within the industry, WWE is still the final destination, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
For him to go anywhere but WWE is a step down almost. You could almost look at AEW and say it's pretty close to lateral, but with Impact, Ring of Honor, Major League Wrestling, I know they have a TV deal out there now, or, unless he was getting big money in Japan to go along with it, kind of like what Gallows and Anderson are doing.
Yeah.
Financially, I think it's going to be just a big step down for the guy.
Yeah. Who knows?
And who knows, again, where his background was softball, does he get it? Almost like Boogeyman, who never worked the industry, never really put the time in, never really understood the industry. He just thinks that you drive down to a training center run by WWE, you're paid to train, and then you go be a wrestler. And in many cases, 99% of the cases, that's not the way that it is.
No, it's not the way. I would even go as far as saying 99.9. You know what I mean? It's
you're going to go a little further than I do.
Yeah, it's not even anywhere close to what it is. And I think that somebody like a Strowman, he's a smart guy, so he's got to have some kind of understanding that he's not going to make the same money that he's going to make. And yes, he wants to be. You want to be happy. Money's not everything. You want to be happy. You want to be successful. But I don't know. It just seems weird. I think the only way that if I was one of those guys that if I'm not going to get signed, say full time to an AEW, I would want to be able to have an open contract to where I could go work other places, whether that be Ring of Honor and Impact and MLW and New Japan and AAA, and I'd want to be able to travel around and actually make my money and make my dates as opposed to being full time to Ring of Honor and working once a month. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
I wouldn't want to do it.
I have to say this: if I'm Tony Khan of AEW, my brain must be near orgasm. If I'm not going to have to compete for all these independent guys to get on my YouTube shows, I mean, literally, you just crush the pay structure, so to speak. If you're not going to have to worry about competing with an NXT contract, if it's someone they really like, they can pay them $250 a week, and they'd likely show up with a big smile on their face. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, anything's possible right now. Well, it's all up in the air.
Wouldn't you think that, in your opinion, as a wise man?
Yeah, I mean, if I was him, absolutely. And there's a lot of guys on his payroll right now that, and girls for that fact, that I would be taking off of the payroll in order to make a little bit more room for these guys and maybe just pay them, a little bit less for these YouTube shows. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, let me tell you this: if we were ever to sit down and look at that roster, and I mean, I don't know what they consider to be a regular or a part-timer or just a YouTube show personality, but there'd be a lot of slicing and dicing going on.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw Dynamite this week, but it looked like your one faction that you loved so much, the Dark Order, was looking like they're going to break up sometime soon. Well, they started to have a little dissension in the ranks.
That's only for the best.
Yeah.
That's only for the best.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just even those that do have talent within that faction, being attached to that faction is just, it's a death sentence. And, I don't mean that in a funny way with what happened with Brody Lee. It's just none of them are over. The gimmick sucks. It's uninteresting. Mm-hmm. They never do anything that anyone wants to see. It's like Adam Cole and the Seven Dwarfs. Adam Page in the Seven Dwarfs when I see them together.
Well, what's the deal with Adam Page? I haven't seen him around in a while. Is he hurt?
He's trying to hide from the Dark Order.
I mean, I don't blame him. I would be too. I'd probably want to hang up my boots at that point if I was asked to be a part of it. But
no, I think right now and I don't know this to be true. I don't know of any injury. I just think trying to find the right place for him at the right time, where they have so many other new, fresh top faces that they're trying to put into important positions. You don't want to overkill it with nothing but top names on the show and then leave nothing but fodder for everybody else. But that would be my educated assumption, not knowing anything more about the situation.
Yeah. So do you feel, I know that Chris Jericho put his career on the line and he's going to be going against MJF.
No, nobody cares.
Well, here's the thing. And this is where I feel they're gonna miss the boat. But if you want to make MJF your top heel, which it almost seems like they're trying to do, maybe be like second to Kenny Omega or whatnot. But I don't really look at Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega as a heel, but he's more of a goofy heel, right? If you want that one heel guy that MJF could actually do, I would put him over on Jericho and just let Jericho do the commentary stuff. You don't need Jericho in the ring right now because you have all these other marquee guys. Let him take a break. Let him go do his Fozzy tours. Let him do his cruise that he's doing every year. And, when the time is right, you could easily bring him out of retirement or, back, reinstate him. And I'm talking a year from now, just put him on the commentary booth.
I'm not big on stipulations that aren't lived up to. AEW wanted to be the promotion with stipulations that everybody lived up to. out of nowhere. They did
Yeah, but that's old school
that
wrestling.
foolish Cody Rhodes promo. If I don't win, I never want to challenge for the championship again. Why would any wrestler throw that out there for no reason at all? I thought that was absurd.
Why? He's never going to challenge for it again. At least he hasn't since then.
I'm sure he will at some point down the road. But yeah,
You think so?
And to their credit, they have lived up to the stipulation. But why create the stipulation to begin with? It'd be like me walking in down here tonight saying, I'm never going to have chocolate ice cream again. Okay, well, why? Why am I putting myself in this situation needlessly?
Well,
If it was an executive that said, okay, Cody, you've had one too many shots. This is your last chance to get a championship opportunity, or you're never going to get one again. Then it has a little heat behind it. For him to come out there in his long trench coat and a suit and say that, I thought it was foolish. It was like Dustin Rhodes. I think it was the first round of some random tournament they were doing, and he said the same thing. If I don't win, it wasn't like it was even the finals. I believe it was the first round. He said, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to come back again. And then you have Kazarian and Daniels doing the Ric Flair thing from 2007. The next time we lose, we're never going to team again. Why?
Right.
Why are you creating that stipulation for yourself when it should be something A, set up by a quote-unquote authority figure, or B, some kind of a challenge issued by a heel? Why create it for yourself and paint yourself into a corner? I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's crazy because it's almost like, Jericho in this sense feels like, oh, I know I can beat him. I know I'm the better wrestler. He's put all these stipulations on me, which is why I can't beat him. But now I'm gonna do something that makes me, have to come out of the gates, swinging. And I can see it from that kind of point of view. But I don't disagree with what you're saying. Why do that? It really doesn't make any sense. You're 100% right. But at the same time, hey, it sucks in the sense of now you almost know what the outcome is going to be, right? Because unless they throw the big swerve where Jericho loses, which I think he should, but he's probably not going to, right? And it's almost what Roman did with SummerSlam right before, 2 days before he goes, if John Cena beats me, I'm going to leave WWE.
Back,
Like, come on, for a fact. I mean,
anyone believe that?
Right. And that's the thing. It's like it almost made me not want to watch the match because I knew what the outcome was at that point.
Even old Johnny Cash himself, John Cena Sr., buried that one.
Oh, good. I'm happy. It's just
neither did his pace.
I understand that you have your smart fans and you have your smart marks and all this other stuff, and it's to the point now where
you just have people that aren't smart marks that just actually have an ounce of common sense in their body.
But that's the problem is that any federation for this fact, the promoters or the bookers or the writers, whomever they are, they just feel like the fans are so stupid and they just don't get it to the point where they could go out and just do stuff like that where it's actually going to sell tickets. Yeah. It's not going to sell tickets.
Yeah.
In my eyes, hey, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I think I've watched wrestling long enough to understand the ins and outs and the backbone and the meat of the potatoes of it. I remember one of the only career matches that I could really remember being interested in was that Ultimate Warrior Macho Man Randy Savage one from WrestleMania 7.
Look at how long that lasted.
Yeah, it didn't last 6 months.
6 months.
He came back at SummerSlam, but
he didn't wrestle
point,
at SummerSlam.
He got married. I'm sorry, he got married.
His in-ring return came at this Tuesday in Texas.
Right? That was after Survivor Series, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll say 8-9 months that it lasted, but at the same time, maybe because I was young and naive at the time, but I was interested because it hooked me in. I didn't know who was going to win or lose. And I think
off the top of my head if that was the first career stipulation match I ever saw.
I mean, that's what I can't remember another one. Since then, I mean,
it was well done. Now it's a regular occurrence.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's too much.
It was like when they broke the Iconics up and they announced it before the literally before the commercial break.
So stupid. But hey, you know what? They're coming back, so who knows? Who knows where they're going to be the inspiration now? So
thank the wrestling gods that we'll be back to see more lousy wrestling from the former.
Come on,
Peyton Royce, and what's the one that's even worse? His name,
Billy Kay.
Yeah,
They
remind me of two women that would be doing like the introductions, role playing at an amusement park down at like Universal Studios, guiding people into the ride, playing some kind of a character. They're terrible.
I don't know.
Terrible.
I don't know. I enjoy watching them. I think I get a kick out of it.
You can come out into their little Australian song with them.
Hey, I would. I love their song. I even downloaded it. Wait a minute, hold on. Not to cut you off here, but that's two songs that you technically have sang this week, and you said you were only going to give us one every week. So
the 20th anniversary is less than a month away. So you know what?
So you're getting excited.
I'm getting excited. I didn't get to sing "Cleaning Woman" to the Cleaning Women.
Yep.
I wanted to break out my best Roy Orbison, but they didn't give me the chance. They were done with their cleaning before I got here, and now I have to focus on the Iconics and their very odd Australian-sounding theme song that they used to use when they were allowed to be the Iconics.
Well, we'll move away from it, but as we are talking about shotgunning things, Monday Night Raw, you saw the Miz and Morrison break up, and you saw Doudrop and Eva Marie break up. But my question is, what happened to the actual story of anything, right? So back in the day, you would have, if a team broke up, they wouldn't touch for, 6 months, and maybe longer. Now, all of a sudden, Miz and Morrison break up, and they have a match on Monday, as does Doudrop and Eva Marie have a match on Monday. And it's like, to me, why not build to something? What happened to the build? What happened to, doing all this? And have the writers gotten so lazy to the point where they're just going to say, all right, they broke up, let's put them in a match and then be done with it? Or let's have them wrestle for the next 6 weeks against each other and just, they'll have 6 matches and Miz will win 3, Morrison will win 3, and then we'll call it a day.
I'm still not convinced that Doudrop is not the female referee.
Jessica Carr?
Yes.
No, come on.
I think she could be doing double duty.
Oh my God, you. I don't know. I don't know what you had for breakfast, but that's terrible. Jessica Carr is a sweet, sweet young lady.
Yeah.
But again, like where's the storyline on stuff? Why do they have to shotgun everything? And again, are they just that lazy, or they just don't know? Like, do they not know how to write TV? It's almost like a TV show. Like if I'm watching, I don't even know what TV show I could throw out there, but because I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest with you. But it's almost like if the main character would, they do something one week and then it's done the next week and they don't ever talk about it again. It just doesn't make any sense to me in that aspect of it. You have these guys that are good. Like The Miz is good. I'm sorry, but he's good. And if anybody doesn't like The Miz or think that he's overused or think that he is what it is, I think they're just jealous of him and his success. But you have these guys that can carry out storylines from week to week. Why not let them do it? Why not let them talk and not have a promo scripted for them? Why not do all this stuff? And I don't know. I think they've gotten too wrapped up in the corporate BS to know how to do wrestling anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I just, no matter what the show is I watch, it's one that I feel like I don't want to watch much of. SmackDown, like I said, is probably the easiest to digest. NXT can be hit or miss. Even before WWE came out and kind of said it was starting to slide or slip a little bit. I think we noted it on this very show. I can't exactly pinpoint when, but it wasn't the NXT of yesteryear, of old.
Yeah, I agree. And even this past week on NXT, I didn't watch all of it. But again, Samoa Joe comes out, and now all of a sudden you got 18 guys coming out saying they deserve a title shot.
And they just did that angle.
Yeah, and but it was the same thing on SmackDown, where Becky's out and she's doing her return, and then Sasha comes out, and then 4 or 5 other women come out, and they're going to have a match for the number 1 contender. Not for nothing. Why do they need to have a match? Bianca just lost the belt. Doesn't that make her the number 1 contender, or she gets to invoke a rematch clause? What happened to that old story? And at the same time, why did you take it off of her to begin with? It's all shotguns, all reactionary. They don't know how to book themselves. They got them booked into a corner. They're going to make Bianca look really, really bad because she's not going to win at Extreme Rules. And if she does, then you've just killed off Becky Lynch. It's just really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was not a fan of that. I understand why, Fox wants to get the best return for their investment as possible, and that is to load up the show with as much star power as possible. But, sometimes it's the way you bring them in. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, not for nothing. If you wanted to get eyeballs onto Fox, then for 2 weeks prior, you could say Becky Lynch is making a return on this day. And then that's all you need to do. And then she comes out, she does her thing, she talks, she blah, 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 blah. You don't even need to have her in the title picture. But they had her come out and squash your champion in 6 seconds. New SummerSlam record. Congratulations. You've just completely killed off your top babyface, and there's really no coming back from it. And then at the same time, and not for nothing, these other ladies, like, I don't see the interest in the star power. Liv Morgan came out and she looked terrible. She looked like she got beat up and thrown in the gutter, and then she showed up in the ring. I don't know, man. I don't know where they're getting their inspirations from or where they're getting anything from, but it just looked really bad. And then they're finally bringing Naomi back, who I think can actually work. But they made her look bad because Sonya Deville says she doesn't have what it takes. It just. I don't know. I don't know where they're coming out with all this stuff.
Interesting fact about Naomi.
I would love to.
Several years back, I actually taught her how to do that slide on her knees when she comes down during the entrance.
Why? Because you slipped on the ice or something?
No, I showed her how to do it. She was very appreciative of it, which is why I have a lot of respect for Naomi.
Well, you didn't actually show her how to do it.
I did.
No, come on. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Well, all right.
Where was this? Where was this? At the Worcester?
It was
Worcester
someplace.
Coliseum?
It was at someplace.
No.
And she loved it, and she's kept it ever since.
She has. She really has. Well, kudos to her.
She saw that on the slides that I have to wear now instead of shoes. She saw them light up, and she said, "That's a good gimmick. I want that too." I said, "Naomi, what aren't you going to take from me?"
Star power.
No, and there you go.
What else? I got nothing else, my man. I don't know.
There's almost
this new logo.
Oh, I don't even
garbage.
know what to call it.
It's garbage. What's the point of it? It's tie dye, or I guess it's tie dye, but I'm looking at it right now. It's a bunch of colors. It just looks stupid. I don't get it. And they're going to revamp the entire Capitol Performance Center, which they just revamped. So now they're going to redo it. So what's it going to look like? Why not put them back out on the road and put them in an arena somewhere?
Are they trying to? And I'm trying to say this with all due respect, but where it's so colorful and whatnot, almost kind of like how AEW's opening is, where it has the paint splashing everywhere. But is it a sexual thing?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
For the LBGTQ plus that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They have the rainbow colored flag. I was wondering if that had something to do with it. With WWE looks to be so diverse. I don't know the answer to the question, which is why I posed it to you.
Yeah, but what's the question?
Is that what they're going for? I guess is the question.
I can't see if that's what they're going for. I don't know. I mean, if it is, I don't really. Is there a backstory to it? I don't know. Who knows?
God only knows.
I'm
if Stephanie comes out and makes a big announcement welcoming us to the new NXT.
Yeah, I mean, I all I'm seeing is it says I'm seeing one tweet. So who's this guy Whale? Is he like a rapper or something like that?
Wale, I believe is how you pronounce it. Wale.
Okay,
yes,
so that just shows you my age right there. I have no idea how to pronounce these rappers' names. So I'm guessing he's coming out with a new
theme song,
rap
maybe, yeah.
for a theme for them. But I don't know, man. It's I'm hoping it does something. I'm seeing I'm seeing this opening now. It looks like you're right. They have a bunch of paint splatter, and now it almost reminds me of. It almost looks Bush League to the point where they first originally had the NXT come out. And it was like where they used to splatter just the yellow and black, and then the NXT logo would come out in white. It's I don't know.
I was very offended they took the black and the gold from Boston Wrestling MWF, but I forgive them.
You forgive them now because they're going with the paint splatter.
We had it first.
You did have it
first. We still have it.
Yeah,
they
that's
can
good,
have
though.
their paint splatter, and we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Again, I just don't know where they're going with it. It just seems very weird. I don't know. It's definitely a different logo. I don't know. Are they going to come out with new championships too at this point?
How many new championships can you come out with? I'm so sick of the new title belts to go along with many of the other things that I don't like about the product we have to watch nowadays. And people are going to say, well, why do you bother to watch it all? Well, notice one thing. We don't do the daily review shows anymore that we did 4 days a week because to me they were just so negative. You know what I mean? It was always, there was never a bright spot at the end of them. You know, for every one positive we might have to say about the show, there were about 5 negatives. And I think at least a talk show like this where it's banter back and forth is one thing. But to sit there and legitimately sit through an hour review and have 95% of it be negative, I don't think that's good for anybody.
No, and it's not good to live that way where everything's always negative around you because it kind of puts doom and gloom on your life. But at the same time, I've had people ask me, well, why do you watch it if you don't like it? No, let me get something straight, people. I love professional wrestling, and I will always watch professional wrestling. But just some of the stuff that I watch nowadays, and it's easy to harp on the negative as opposed to emphasize the positive. It's at the end of the day, it's always wrestling. I'm always going to watch it. I'm always going to be a fan of it. And maybe it's because I've grown up in a different era and I've seen, things that to me is so much better than what I'm watching now. And I'm sure, I don't know, maybe I could go take a 10-year-old kid and ask him how much they love wrestling right now as opposed to, the stuff that I grew up on. And they would say that the stuff I grew up on was boring and they love the stuff now. So who knows? It's all relative. It's just my opinion, but at the end of the day, we're going to continue watching it and probably continue critiquing it.
Yes, well, at least on Wrestling Insider Stern but Fair. But I think the fans of yesteryear, one of the reasons why they enjoyed the talk shows we do so much is because it's almost like for a little bit of time you get to escape the reality of 2021 with what's on their TVs, and they can just sit back and relax and think about in their own minds and maybe debate with each other during the premiere chats that we have about what they liked, what they didn't like about those quote-unquote good old days. Yeah,
well, hey, you know what? Keep the comments and the feedback coming because we are only around because of the fans. So if they don't have their comics and their likes and their tweets and all this kind of stuff, we're out of business. So
especially on this program, we thanks to you, available on a wide variety of podcast platforms.
Yes, we are. So keep them coming. We're on Apple. We're on Stitcher. We're on Spotify. We're on Google. We're on Pocket Casts. We're all over the place. So sign up. And if you're able to give us a 5-star review, then please go ahead and do so.
You'd be very appreciative of that.
100% appreciative of it, yes.
All right. Is there anything else in the great world of professional wrestling that we missed this week?
No. You know what? No, I don't think so. Like I said, to me, it was a slow, boring week. I had a lot of stuff I didn't want to watch, Empowerrr being one of them. So hopefully we'll get a better week this week.
What about Adam Cole? Where do you think he winds up? In WWE Universe somewhere or on AEW?
You know what? I don't know. I think the speculation out there is right now is AEW. I think if WWE was smart, they'd keep him right in NXT where he belongs. And he wouldn't survive on the main roster.
And where Bray Wyatt's no-compete clause expires just days or right around Halloween itself, and AEW has a pay-per-view, I believe, the second Saturday in November. Do you think we see Bray Wyatt debut on a TV show near there at the early November AEW pay-per-view Full Gear? What do you think we see with Bray?
I think you're going to see Bray and Braun end up in Impact. I don't think Bray Wyatt will be going to AEW.
You think Bray Wyatt's going to wind up in Impact?
Yes.
Why?
I think that's where he's going to start, honestly. That's my opinion. That's my guess. I have no insider information. I don't talk to the man, but that is just my gut telling me that's where he's going to go. I think for somebody like Bray Wyatt, who needs a creative outlet and needs to be kind of do his own thing, not that he wouldn't be able to do that in AEW. I just don't think it's the right time for him to go to AEW. There's too much going on. I even think it's the wrong time for them to bring Daniel Bryan in. I think, or Bryan Danielson is at this point. I think they need to let CM Punk come back, get a couple matches under his belt, let the fans die down every time he's out there, and then go from there.
Like I said, I would save Bryan's debut for one of those New York TV tapings they have coming up in I think September 15th and 22nd. They have Dynamites within the New York City market. I think that would be a great way to get them some attention, get people buzzing. But again, that's one man's opinion. Who knows? We may see him on pay-per-view next Sunday night. I believe we're going to have Stern but Fair a little early because the AEW pay-per-views, man, those can go pretty late.
Yeah, they can.
Those can go pretty late.
Yeah, we'll have Stern but Fair maybe beforehand. We'll preview. Maybe we can preview the upcoming pay-per-view.
The preview show kind of went over well the last time we did it.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do it with All Out, and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds like a deal, wrestling fans. We would love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching with us during the premiere box remains open on the right-hand side of the screen. The Super Chat button is open if you'd like to say hello, tip the bartender in that way. Or if you're watching after the fact, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what we do. Give us a big Hacksaw Jim Duggan-like thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a penny, and it will give you all the great information on when the premieres premiere. So a lot of big things happening here as we get ready to celebrate 20 years as all roads lead to Memorial Hall in downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, Saturday night, November the 13th. It is going to be a happening, a VIP Legends Q&A, autographs and photos, live in-ring wrestling with so much attention, it could blow the roof off of Memorial Hall. And from what I'm told, it's in rough shape over there to begin with. They might need to take out some gaffer's tape and put the roof back on. I don't know.
Well, no matter what they do, we're going to blow it off the place. It doesn't matter.
We'll do our best. All right, for my partner in crime, Tiger Mulligan, I'm Dan Marty. We'll see you next Sunday night early for Wrestling Insider's Stern but Fair. Until then, you and yours, be well, stay healthy. Good night from Boston.
Bro.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.